O's for book and the 2 O's for look, put some eyelashes, and put a little iris in the pupil and make it an eye. Book to look. And if you will set one of those in front of each person's place at the table when they ask you about them, blow them off. Just say, oh, we'll talk about that later. Because when you make people wait to find out about something, they want to know about it even more, right? Okay, so you make them wait till the end. And at the end, when Lavinia says, yes, she is going to invite these people to her checkup facial and have a skincare class, then I say, oh, Lavinia, you know that book to look envelope? You can either open that, and you can open it right now because you booked your class, and let's see what it says you get as a bonus gift. Now, a lot of times I love to give them the empty custom compact. It only cost me $8. And there's only 3 requirements they have to get that for free. Now, you know why it's empty? They have to buy all the products to fit inside of it. Or I might just offer a little challenge how they can earn those gifts for free. They must hold their show as scheduled. That's the first thing. And the hostess must give me the names of the guests coming so that I can fill out the profile. That's number 1. Number 2, they must have a minimum of 3 guests. Now, the truth, if only 2 show up, I'm going to count the hostess as the 3rd one, and as long as we sell over $100 in sales, she still gets that compact. So that's the second one, is a minimum of 3 guests, but I'm going to fudge a little, and number 3 is a minimum of $100 in sales. Remember, for the other great gifts, they have to do 200. So it's just one little extra perk that they're going to receive. So now, we've worked full circle, as we've seen on some of the other DVDs. Tonight we've talked about how we can manage our time well by following up and pre-profiling the hostesses, and then in the class how this profile card, when fully used with maximum advantage, can you see how you can make more money, get more leads, and if the people don't show up or the show's not held, you got all these names and phone numbers. Isn't that great? You also can offer a gift. And the gift can be an eyeshadow that you call someone and you say, Susie, Lavinia Newsome recommended that I give you a call. I'm her Mary Kay beauty consultant. And in fact, she's asked me to give you a gift of a complimentary facial and makeover and a free eyeshadow for doing a facial with me. When would be a good time for us to get together? The beginning of the week or the end of the week? Always go right into, no matter what the objection is, overcome it and go to the next part. Okay, so that's how we manage our time well. All right, because otherwise you can wait and waste 10 minutes at your show and have them fill it out and end up with no names and phone numbers. Let's go to part 2 of managing our money. So let's talk about IPAs. IPAs stand for income producing activities. And what are some of the things that help us make money? Well, I would say personal appointments would be the number 1 way that we make money. Would you agree with that? Mm-hmm. The first way would be with skincare classes. Now notice I said skincare classes first rather than facials. A facial is only used when you can't turn it into a class. But sometimes we have to book it as a facial first. So an IPA is making money. Your success meeting can be an IPA. Why? Because most success meetings, you can have a facial done on someone. So you can be trained and make money at the same time, correct? In almost all scenarios. It depends on the meeting you go to and what city that you're in. An interview would be an IPA. Sitting down, going through the marketing plan, or having me go through the marketing plan in a 3-way phone call. Now, you may not make money today, and we talked about face cards, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later, how if you have a deck of cards, there's 52 cards. Now, to 52 cards, there's 13 that have a face. The Queen, the Jack, the King, and the Joker. Okay, all the rest of those numbers are just numbers. Well, if you think about it, if you talk to 52 people about the opportunity, if 13 recruit, that's about 1 out of every 4. Those are the kind of odds that you want. And the payoff can be extremely big when someone works out really well. Like one of my directors, Edie Evans, has been with me over 25 years. The payoff has been really big for the time that I invested doing that marketing plan with her initially. So that would be an IPA. What would be some other IPAs? How about an on-the-go appointment? Would that be an IPA? IPA. What are some more? Reorders. Picking up the phone, dialing for dollars, calling your customers and keeping up with them. What might be some other ways you could make actual money? Website. right? You need to invest in a website for $25 and then using that as an IPA. Do not think that organizing your products, sitting on the computer, sending emails out to your team, that talking for an hour to one teammate is an IPA, because those are not IPAs. Those are thinking time. We are never paid for thinking time. We're only paid for action time. In fact, Mary Kay taught me that 9 to 9 is people time. Now, some of us have talked about that, maybe 8:30 for some people that go to bed earlier. Depends on the area in which you live. Putting together Hostess packets, recruiting packets, those aren't IPAs. Those are things you can do while you're watching a movie. You can rent a movie and sit down and watch those and do something like that at the same time. That's something you can pay a high school student to do. So IPAs are only things that make you money, okay? Either a sales event or a recruiting event. Success meetings are necessary. Seminars, career conference are necessary to succeed, but it's not going to give you the cash flow that you need, all right? I need to stress to you that until you have hit $4,200 on your shelf, you need to reinvest every single penny. I don't care if you start with $4,200 or if you start with $600 or if you start with 0 and you go out and sell and build it up. But eventually, wouldn't you agree that you want to have some of everything on your shelf? Right, okay, because if you're a person that has to make deliveries, the amount of time you spend making deliveries, you could have been out holding another appointment. So it's taking away from your IPAs to deliver those products. New products, let me talk about that. I said you need $4,200, but something that didn't make sense to me for a long time was when we come out with new products like CelluShape right now, or this spring we'll be coming out with some new products, new colors. Twice a year we come out with some new colors and fun limited edition items. We'll also have men's products coming out for Father's Day. If you take the money from your skincare and reinvest it to buy those items, what happens to your skincare?
You don't have it.
You don't have it. It depletes it. Most stores and businesses, when they buy a new line of products, they go back out to the bank and borrow more money. I was in this business 20 years before I understood that. I just thought, well, gosh, sometimes my inventory seems to get low and I have to take some more of my profits to put back in to build it up. Now, I probably sell a little bit more product than some of the rest of you. All right? You know, on a really good month, I might sell 5,000 or 6,000. As an average, I sell about 25 to 3,000 a month. So I know that I need that product and be turning it over on a consistent basis. Once you're on that profit basis, how do you spend your money? Well, let's backtrack a second. The kids come in and one of the kids says, I need a new pair of tennis shoes. Your first reaction is there's cash in your Mary Kay money bag, and aren't you tempted to reach in and take the cash out and give it to them? Honey doesn't keep cash. This was our big thing when we first got married. He would say, I don't have any cash, I need some money. And I heard someone say, make him write you a check. So I got the checkbook and I wrote $30 and I gave him the cash. But then I wrote myself a check for $30 and put it in that money bag. You see, if I worked for somebody else and I took cash out of the cash register, that would be embezzling, right? I would be fired for it. I want you to be that tough on yourself. This is your own business. And one day, if you want what I've got, then you got to do what I did. And that is I had to learn how to manage my money well. And once I got to that profit level, because I personally only started with a $600 order. And if you take that back years ago, I guess that's worth about $2,400 today. But that means that I would have had to reinvest 3 more $600 orders in order to be able to take out profit. Once you're on that profit level, you get to pay yourself 40%. Now, I loved it last night. My daughter says, then I really don't make 50%. My 18-year-old at college goes, I don't really make 50%, do I? I said, yes, you do. But if you're going to give away Hostess gifts, thank you gifts, if you're going to give away the preferred customer program gifts, then you've got to have an extra 10% cash flow to cover those expenses, section 2. Whether it's samples of eyeshadow, samples of blush, lip liner, pencils, it's going to take a minimum of 10% to run your business. Now, sometimes the company gives us free products on a $600 order or a $400 wholesale order, and those items can be sold, and then that profit can go into section 2 also. But basically, the company's recommendation is 10%. So if you have $1,000 week, let's think big, all right? You have $1,000 week. 40%, okay, is your profit money. 60% is reinvestment. So $600 of that $1,000 goes into your checking or savings account, whichever you use to operate your business. In other words, it's going to buy more inventory, whether you're on a profit basis or not. If you're not on a profit basis, you really need to reinvest 100%. So all $1,000 should go in. But I know that some of you are living off of your Mary Kay. So if you are, you may have to do a 20-80 split. 20% to give yourself a quick cash flow and 80% to reinvest until you get to your $4,200. The choice is yours. The sooner you get to that $4,200, the sooner you'll have more money to spend. So on that $1,000 week, when you're on a profit level, you get to spend $400. $400, count it out, 4 $100 bills goes to you. Now, if you borrowed the money from the bank, it's on a credit card, where does the $400 go? To pay it back. Thank you, Lavinia. It does not go for you to go buy yourself a new outfit. Sorry. I know you thought you were getting to blow it all. Now, if you need to split it, if you want to use $200 to pay on the credit card or to pay your bank loan, and $200 to pamper you after a $1,000 week, I'd say do it once in the month and then go back and keep paying down your bills. Now, there's something really important I want you to understand. We have a society that believes in credit card debt. One of my favorite people to listen to, and I guess it's okay to promote someone that I watch on TV and I read her books, is Susie Ormond. She is a guru at helping people who are in debt get out of debt. And one of the things that I learned from her, even though I've never been in credit card debt, is I learned that if you have a credit card and you are paying interest on a credit card, and you get one of those invitations for a free credit card in the mail, and you get 6 months of $0 interest, you need to close down your credit card, transfer the balance, and put it on a credit card that for 6 months is not charging you any interest. You can pay down your balance quicker. Then the other thing that you need to do to get that balance to go down quicker, you cannot pay minimum amounts. Okay, very important that you understand that in money management. Because what happens is if you only pay the minimum amount and you only go out to sell enough each month, maybe something's going on in your personal life and you can't go out and hold classes right now. You're going to have to find another way to make money because it will take you forever to get that credit card paid off. And my job is to teach you how to make money, and I'm pretty darn good at it. But how you manage your money is what's going to make the difference on how quick you see a plot plus a positive cash flow in your Mary Kay checking account and in your personal account. And so I highly, highly recommend you pay down that credit card as quick as you can. Best scenario is to go to the bank, and if the bank will give you a loan, or if you have a line of equity, you're better off to borrow it that way. Because then you can pay off as much as you want at a time or as little as you want, but the interest stays the same. It doesn't keep getting compounded. Does that make sense? I hope everybody understands that, because a lot of people don't, and they find themselves charging more and more on that credit card and not paying it down. Then that brings up, how do you place your next orders if you don't want any more on your credit card till you get it paid off? I personally sell enough to cover the cost of my credit card, and I make sure I have enough personal recruits that my recruiting check helps to pay down my credit card if that's what I need it to do. Okay, so when you use your credit card and you've done your initial order, now let's go back and talk about, was it worth getting into debt? Absolutely it was, because if a new consultant started with $3,600 like Linda did, or Tasha Ray Algier, those are just two off the top of my head I'm thinking of, they got $700 in free products. You can ride a pretty long time for $700 in free products with interest on your credit card. However, after that 6 months, go to that zero balance and start it over again. You can carry yourself for about 2 years if you had to and not pay that interest. The minute you're at that limit and you've got as much free product as you can out of the company on your initial order, the first order only, at that point you need to go to a debit card. Now, why a debit card? A debit card works with what you have in cash in your checking account. So you're not going to incur any more interest Does that make sense? That's how I handle money management. The best way you can really handle it, in addition to that, is sell as much as you can, as quickly as you can. Remember the perks we talked about last week, diamond rings that you can win for being in the top in the company in sales, quarterly prizes that you can win. Set those as your goals so that every single week you're selling no less than $300 a week. The company's recommendations in money management are 3 plus 3 plus 3. And I loved on our Sunday night conference call a couple weeks ago, one of my consultants sharing that a national sales director said in our country, when you work for someone else, you're stupid. The only way to be smart is to work for yourself and own your own business. And that's what Mary Kay allows you to do. So she said, the company teaches 3 plus 3 plus 3. 3 classes a week, $300 in new business each week, and 3 interviews a week. She wanted to know where that came from. She said, I